deserving. And you remember on that great day, Joe.
Yeah, he had a great run. The biggest challenge he had, he told us, he said, man, pit road on those Xfinity Series cars is so different than these modified cars. But he may not have an opportunity, he said, with the way the schedule, we're already deep into the 2024 season to be able to run again this year. But I think he's optimistic about an opportunity to get another chance in the Xfinity Series. He certainly turned a lot of heads, certainly put his name on the map. I mean, people knew Justin Bonsignor was great. And now it was his opportunity to go up and showcase that. And remember, he had no practice, no qualifying, started at the back of the field and raced his way solidly inside the race, led laps, finished, ran second at one point in time, and had a very strong finish as the race went on.
Sure was. It was very convincing. A lot of people were watching and paying attention. And, of course, as we said before, he is extremely deserving. You know, one of the things that goes on behind the scenes that most people don't realize is the fact that there's a lot of adjustment in the schedule today. Jimmy Wilson and his staff have worked very hard to get us to this point in the program, and it's all coming into play.
Let's now go trackside for pre-race ceremonies.
The Minister for the Racing with Jesus Ministries will offer us tonight's invocation.
Before we pray tonight, we want to lift up the Canfield family with the recent loss of Evan. Our Heavenly Father, we ask that your hand of mercy and grace would surround the Canfields at this time. Lord, as we lift up this event to you, we ask that your presence would be with us. Lord, that you would look over us, you would protect us. And Lord, we enjoy a tremendous freedom in this country. But we wouldn't enjoy that without the men and women who sacrifice to maintain that freedom. Lord, watch over them, protect them, comfort their families. Lord, look to every fan here tonight, this facility, these drivers, these teams, officials, safety workers. Put your hand of protection on us. Guide us through this night, Lord, and see us safely home. For we lift up the precious name of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen.
And please remain standing as Lancaster native Anna Hurd will sing the Canadian and American national anthems.
To see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting here and there, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Anna Hurt with her rendition of both the Canadian and American national anthem from right here in Lancaster, New York. Beautiful job by Anna and her performance here today. Drivers are strapped in, crowd is ready, and the command just moments away from the New Way Auto Parts 150. Let's go trackside for the command.
From giving the command, and we will fire these engines here this evening at Lancaster for the third running of the New Way Auto Parts 150.
So if you look up off of turn number 4, here comes the Sheriff's Department. They are going to deliver the green flag here at the start-finish line.
Two of Erie County's finest and bravest. A 150 laps here around this big old half mile.
Just a couple of minutes away from giving the command to fire engines. Don't forget, everybody, on lap number 93. Lap 93, it's a special lap, and that's something all of us are going to have the opportunity to participate on as we celebrate Tim Mangus.
Tim, of course, a native of Webster, one of our all-time greats here at Lancaster. We have our
So a moment or two away from the command to fire engines, drivers getting strapped in. Here is that number 93 for Tim Mangus, who we will honor on lap 93 as we wish him a steady recovery after an accident he endured in the month of May.
Certainly is, and of course a lot of thought was put into this. A lot of race drivers from the time that he was, well, a star among the Whelen Modified Tour type drivers. We wish him the very best in a quick and speedy recovery. His accomplishments in racing, he was, of course, extremely competitive in the early 90s here at Lancaster, and he was 13th on the all-time win list, Joe, and that's a major accomplishment at a track of this type and nature. Had the opportunity to announce races and speak with him on many an occasion, and heartfelt from everybody that worked so feverishly to produce this very special tribute. We will talk about it a little bit later, but the fans have been given a significant way to salute on lap number 93. They'll rise from their seats, and they will make that positive gesture. He's watching at home. Tim, we hope you're enjoying this. We're honored that you can be a part of it, and we can be a part of the story of Tim Mangus.
Cars are staged and ready. You look inside the 16 car of Ron Silk and Justin Bonsignor. Those two, the rivalry has been strong, but there are several players in the field here tonight who have stepped up their game as well and want a little bit more of Whelen Modified Tour glory here tonight. Let's go trackside for the command.
Parts 150. We'll turn it down to Bonsignor and his daughters from New Way Auto Parts.
Drivers, start your engine!
The NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour comes to life on the front stretch, aka the drag strip, at Lancaster Motorplex. Getting closer and closer, 150 laps. Steve, what types of things you're going to look for throughout the running?
So the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour have come to life here in Western New York, Lancaster Motorplex. The New Way Auto Parts 150. Green flag is coming up. Back here at the Lancaster Motorplex in Western New York, the New Way Auto Parts 150 as we start the second half of the 2024 season. And we've moved past the short tracks and now we're on some of these larger tracks over the next couple of races. Ben, these drivers have been eager to go racing here in outstanding pre-race ceremonies, but it's time to get down to business. 150 laps on deck.
It certainly is. And the business today is we want to see if another individual will be in the winner's circle as a brand new winner, or will it be one of the same? Maybe the big winners already this season. Let's take a look at the starting lineup.
Starting lineup today set by the rule book as qualifying was rained out. On the front row, the series championship point leader, defending series champion Ron Silk, two-time champion, will lead him around. Justin Bontour, three-time champion, will line up alongside.
Row number 2 will look like this. Jake Johnson, the big winner already this season from Monadnock, will make up that row with one of the favorites here, and that, of course, is none other than Patrick Emmerling.
Austin Beers will start fifth. He's a defending race winner. Kyle Bonsignor alongside. He's got 2 consecutive top 5 finishes coming into today.
And then we go to the 4th row. Craig Lutz, who's long overdue to have success, looks forward to the extra distance tracks and the extra distance event. Trevor Catalano, hot after a victory. He's pumped up. The family tradition looking to continue under the hometown lights here at, of course, Lancaster Speedway.
Row 5, Tommy Catalano, fastest in practice, running the Patsy Joe number 54 in honor of his family. Matt Hirschman will start 10th. He won Seekonk earlier this year.
Let's go back to row number 6, Tyler Catalano. This is the 3rd Catalano from Ontario, New York, will make up that row. And Ken Heggie, 199 starts, going for 200, will be making up the 12th starting position.
Next, it's Tim Conley. Tyler Ripko making up the next row. Melissa Fifield and Jake Lutz will start deep in the field in 16th.
More to the local favorites. Andy Jankaliak will be back in 17th. Andrew Spurback back in 18th position. And Bobby Reese will pick up at the rear of the field. They are ready. This is what it's all about. 150 laps. And as we said before, a very unique racetrack. Front straightaway is a drag strip. It's treated different than the turns. A little bit of banking on the back straightaway. But when you come to the front straightaway, it's almost perfectly flat. There's a great shot of the men in the front row as we are about ready to get things fired up.
Yeah, let's take a look at the race analysis for tonight's New Way Auto Parts 150 here at Lancaster Motorplex. Tonight, we'll have 150 laps of competition. No race break here tonight. They'll have 7 tires that they can take throughout the race today. But Ben, the strategy, we'll get into this, a little bit different than what we've seen in the past.
Yes, it is.
You can only take 2 tires per caution period.
That's when we say 2 tires per caution, we mean just that. You can't go back in, come out, take 2 more. It's 2 per caution.
Now let's take a look at the keys to the race and break down what this is going to look like here today in Lancaster. Oh, so critical as we navigate this racetrack. Finding grip on this unique speedway is going to be a very important aspect of it. You also have to figure out how to apex that corner right there in turn 2 to set yourself up for a pass, getting out to turn 3, and then making sure that you manage and navigate a brand new design pit road exit. But we'll see how it all shapes up. We're ready for the green flag here in Lancaster.
We sure are. The field is set 2 by 2. They rumble off turn number 4. Ladies and gentlemen, headed to the green. The New Way Auto Parts 150 is fired up for the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour. And it is Ron Silk, and it looks like already the inside lane is seemingly the way to go. Meanwhile, Jake Johnson dives to the bottom. Joe off turn number 4. It is Jake Johnson who's found the slot on the inside lane. Will it pay off? He moves into seconds.
Bottom lane is going to be the preferred lane here. You get off turn 2, you see how it narrows up as you head to the back straightaway. The caution flag is out here on just the opening circuit or so. You see Justin Bonsignor getting into the back of Jake Johnson. You saw on that opening lap, Johnson really shipped it in there on turn 3. Got it a little hot down into the corner. Bonsignor going back and saying, hey, it's a little early for that.
Yes, it is. And remember, they did not have a lot of practice due to the weather conditions and the rain. There's the car that brought out the caution. It is car number 72, Andrew Spurback out of Niagara Falls, driving the Proform parts machine. He gets it fired back up, and it should be a very quick caution as they check out the racing surface and things to go.
Andrew is making his debut in the Modified Tour here today. He drove Tour Modifieds years and years ago, but had the opportunity to get out here with this car this season. He's hoping to do a couple of more races, but this is his debut in the Whelen Modified Tour here tonight at Lancaster.
Sure is, and he'll pick up at the rear of the field. And as we have said, Morani Silk took advantage of things in the start. Jake Johnson received, well, the calling card of Justin Bonsignor to let him know he was not as happy, it's too early, as Joe pointed out, to be that aggressive in this event. Field remains under single file before they double them back up, and we only have the opportunity to look at the front row and what was happening there, but there's some other action that we'll take a look at further back in the field when we get them fired back up.
Jake Johnson has never seen this racetrack. Last year, Brian Narducci drove the 3-car here at Lancaster Motorplex, so he has not raced anything here before. First time turning a wheel in that limited practice earlier today. So he has the benefit of being able to be up front because of his points position, that win that he had earlier in the year at Monadnock Speedway. What's interesting, though, with Jake Johnson is that even until this year, which is the first year he's run full-time, he's been on the tour a couple of years, now his third year with those part-time seasons before, he always adapted very quickly, and it didn't take him long to get figured out what it would take to be successful in this series.
You know, you're so right about that. He comes from a background at the Seekonk Speedway. He's driven full-bodied race cars before going to the modifieds. Now, just a week ago in the Monaco Tri-Track Series, he was the big winner in his family-owned race car. So he's been there, and you know, you talk about experience. Sometimes a driver might not know a great deal about a facility, but the Bowler family and the people involved with this particular race car, they can work with their driver and inform them the quickest way around, what to expect and what the car will feel like. And I think that's the secret to the success of Jake Johnson's race team.
Yeah, and he's coming off of what was, ironically enough, in May, his best race of the season, the win at Monadnock Speedway, but last time out, it was their lowest point of the season, which was a 14th place finish, and so he's hungry to right the ship again. He's had a great year so far, but always wants a little bit more. He's been a fun add to the season right in the middle of that championship battle. So Jake Johnson will restart to the outside. Pretty quick caution here as he'll line up to the outside of Ron Silk. You see to the left there is a driver's work. That is that newly paved pit road exit and that access road. Mike Myers and the entire team here at Lancaster Motorplex have put a lot of effort. They painted all the walls. The facility looks completely different. They've added the extension of pit road, continually improving. So there's a proper pit road with the work they did last year and the work they did this year here as the race goes on. It
certainly is. And of course, it's a very tight turn if you want to go down on pit road. But right now, we have a reset of the field. They call it rinse and repeat. They come off turn number 4. And this time, Silk takes advantage of things again. But for Bonsignor, he's on the bottom of the racetrack, and that's where they said you needed to be. Out in front of Silk, Bonsignor moves back in, and here comes Austin Beers. Remember, the last time the Whelen Modified Tour was here, Beers secured the victory in front of a bunch of local fans in support of him.
You look at the success that they had last year, and now Beers, he goes to the outside after we talked so much about the bottom. You look at Austin Beers, though. He had 2 victories last year, the second of those 2 coming here at this racetrack. You come in halfway through the season now and a little bit disappointed, right? They haven't been able to get to victory lane just yet. He said, you know what, now's the time. If I've got a shot at making the second half of the season, I've got to be firing on all 8. I got to step it up, and it has to happen now.
You know, his dad had a lot of laps on this particular racetrack, and his dad told him he's got to be aggressive and up on the wheel from the beginning. All of a sudden, we've got a second caution coming out. It is for car number 10. That, of course, is Bob Reese out of Elma, New York, the ironlisting.com machine. He'll pick up and get it fired back up as well. He is considered a rookie on the Whelen Modified Tour, and this is his debut competing here in 2024.
Kluth Motorsports helping put this car together. Another driver very similar to Andrew Spurback, who's hoping to run a couple of more races as the season goes on. Might even see him make the trip to North Wilkesboro or Martinsville before the season is over, but wanted to try to come out here at his home track. Interesting story there for Bob Reese, because he actually owns a 3rd Mile dirt track that runs on Friday nights, Freedom Motorsports Park. And he is a promoter and that doesn't give him a lot of time to work on his race car and get it ready.
It
You've
does
been in that
not.
business before,
Yes,
Ben,
yes,
and you
I
know
have.
what that looks like when you've got to prepare racetracks like this to be able to go racing.
Sure do, but give him credit. He's out there and he's trying to get some seat time and be a contender in all of this. Well, we saw in the last restart, Joe, that Bonsignor hugged the bottom of the racetrack. We began to talk about the importance of running on the inside. Then all of a sudden, the defending race winner, it was Austin Beers that quickly made the move to the top side of the racetrack. So there's the story there. It looks like our caution flag still remains out as the field is working, trying to keep some heat in the tires back and forth before we reset the field, and we'll be ready to fire it back up. There's the signal from the starter stand. Looks like we're going to go green in one, and when the field crosses over, our lucky dog competitor moves quickly to the back of the field. Rows of two, ready to get back at it. 138 laps to go in this event, and the two big dogs of the Whelen Modified Tour are setting in the front row, but just as hungry as the men in row number 2. And Lutz has moved from the 7th position to the 4th position, and he's done it in a very short period of time.
Now look at how different this lineup is. A second ago, Jake Johnson in the 3 car was to the outside of the front row. Now he's on the outside of row 3. He got shuffled out of line pretty quickly, and now it'll be Justin Bonsignor up top. We'll keep an eye on it. Green flag comes out as they come back out onto the main straightaway. New Way Auto Parts back underway here at Lancaster Motorplex, and it's side-by-side for the top position. Ron Silk in the 16 car running the bottom. Justin Bonsignor up top. And here comes Austin Beers, setting sail, getting a little bit down off the inside lane of the racetrack, splashing in a little bit of mud and water up as he did it on the bottom lane, and he's going to pay the price for it.
Well, he tries to continue to guard the bottom lane, but the black Lutz number 46, the Riverhead building machine, continues to run on the outside. While that is happening, all of a sudden, Lutz, it's do or die time. He must make the move, or else the freight train of cars to the inside, little stutter step by the number 64 car of Beers, gathers it back, and all of a sudden the 22 got a little bit loose, and that of course is Kyle Bonsignor.
Really impressive to see what Craig Lutz had done around the outside lane of the racetrack. This team has been on a slide the last 3 races. They've had finishes of 19th, 22nd, and 19 over the past couple of weeks, and that has certainly played not to their favor. 19, 22nd, and 12 over the past couple of weeks. They wanted to get things turned around, and he's much better on the big tracks, and this is one of them.
It certainly is, and he's showing that right now. Also, you will see as you look a little further back in the field, you're going to see a competitor that has moved forward already, Trevor Catalano with car number 56. That car has been moving towards the front of the field. It is already into the top 6. So the strategy there is starting to come into play. You know how important a victory is. It keeps the driver pumped up. But at the same token, Joe, Jake Johnson's number 3 car is now starting to drift further back, and it's struggling. Let's go back to the front.
Yeah, he's back in 7th. Up front, Justin Bonsignor, the race leader. Ron Silk in 2nd. Craig Lutz has kind of settled in a little bit. Austin Beers, Kyle Bonsignor have settled, and that's where you find the 56 car of Trevor Catalano riding there. Catalano family's got a lot of experience here, a lot of laps around this racetrack. On top of each one of those race cars, they're running the name of Evan Canfield, a photographer who passed away this week. And that entire family honoring him here this evening and looking to have another solid run in front of the hometown crowd.
Certainly is, and they've got a tremendous amount of support coming from their fans because this is their backyard. There's a great shot down the front straightaway on that pavement that is part of the drag strip. Meanwhile, keep your eyes on car number 22, trying to make its presence known. Melissa Fifield on the inside of the shot there, and all of a sudden it appears that car number 18, that of course is the Heggie machine, if it was off the pace for a moment, then gathered it back up. We're still under green.
Leaders work to the outside. There's the 32 of Tyler Ripkema, who is back in action after taking a race or 2 off this track. Fairly close to him, considering he lives in Owego, New York, further south from where we are here in Lancaster. There you see the 54, PJ 54, honoring his grandfather.
And also we're looking at car number 1. That is Patrick Emmerling. Emmerling, of course, he too is a competitor with a lot of laps at this particular racetrack. We go back to the very first Whelen Modified Tour event that was held back in 2021. It was Emmerling who was the big dog. And we talked about earlier in the program, the story was pretty much the same for Emmerling as he tests his skills driving the truck circuit as well. Caution flag comes back out. It is for car number 72, Andrew Spurback.
He came down pit road, and now it looks like he's using that access road here for a moment. He's got some damage there on the right rear quarter panel. Not sure if that was from the first incident that we saw early on in the race, only a couple of laps in, but this one here, lap 126. Caution is out for the 3rd time tonight in the New Way Auto Parts 150. Justin Bonsignor, Ron Silk continue to be first and second.
So as they continue to be first and second, I think the key here is to look back a little bit further and see in the competition, and you will see that there are some competitors that are just starting to settle in and develop what they call the rhythm, and that of course is like Kyle Bonsignor driving the Shalou performance car. Cam McDermott and company preparing that automobile. They do kind of triple duty. He prepares about 3 different cars in 3 different programs. Woody Pitcat is among the success stories that McDermott and his dad have, preparing the automobiles for the competition as well. So we haven't got that long period of green yet in this, the running of the New Way Auto Parts 150. And there you can see 64 car, Austin Beers, has, well, kind of settled back in. Beers is settling back under the yellow in the 4th position. Bonsignor, who is contending, Kyle Bonsignor is setting in 5th. Trevor Catalano, Jake Johnson, Patrick Emmerling, and of course Tommy Catalano and Tyler Ripkema round out the top 10.
Let's talk a little bit about the difference in the rules that they've tried over the past couple of races for the Whelen Modified Tour, and will run for the balance of the tire change races. The first half of the season, it has been this way for many, many years, where you would get tires for practice, and then you'd get, call it 8 tires to be able to run the race, or 7 tires to be able to run the race.
Right.
It'd be a 4 set of tires that you start in qualifying, 3 tires that you could change in the race. And typically what would happen is everybody would come down, they'd get 1 pit stop, take those tires, and then that would be that, right? Well, they changed that around a little bit, where they said the start of the race, you get your 7 tires, the 4 you qualify with, a couple down on pit road, that you can use throughout the race. You can use them in any way you want, and you can change them when you go down pit road. So they could change as many as 7 tires on pit road. Now, that's a mix of practice tires and qualifying tires and different things. Some may be new. As they go through that, they've got the opportunity to come down multiple times, maybe twice, and get 2 tire changes. And it really opens up the strategy quite a bit and changes the dynamic of what could be done. Some of the teams take tires from home, which are allowed to do for some practice. They're able to get tires here at the track. You see there's some 4 change tires that Phil Moran has set out for Ron Silk and his team. It looks like they're set up for maybe a 2-stop strategy, but that's very different than what we've seen before, and it gives them more opportunities to work on the car. And it also created the opportunity, I think, for Trevor Catalano and that team to play a different strategy game, give themselves a track position that they need with a fast race car, and win that race at Monadnock a couple of weeks ago.
So true. And in the past, everybody seemed to pit at the same point. It was kind of monkey see, monkey do. That's no longer the case. Strategy comes into play. Each individual team, 2 tires every time. And here we go, back up to speed. And just like before, the inside lane seems to be the racy lane. Lapped automobile that was coming out of pit road comes right out in the neck of the fleet of cars going by. Meanwhile, it is the 46 machine that has worked its magic from the 7th position, trying to move into 2nd. It does it with ease. Austin Beers, Joe, he's stuck on the outside, and there's a Congo line of cars in the inside lane.
Well, he watched the 46, and Craig Lutz go to the outside. He said, well, maybe I can get that rolling as well. Lutz was able to now move his car into 2nd, but Austin Beers up top, trying to hold off Trevor Catalano on the bottom. The DeLange family and the team that Eric Pierce's dad ran for, and Austin had a lot of experience here. This is a racetrack that he feels very, very comfortable with, and he feels that he has an edge, an advantage when they roll into Lancaster. But right now, his car not as sporty as it looked at the end of last year's race.
Certainly is not, but don't let that fool you. There's still a lot of time left to go in this one. But as you can see, he's on the outside, kind of hung out to dry, as the 56 of the big winner from Monadnock makes the move, Trevor Catalano, and right there with him is Jake Johnson. Now, Jake Johnson, just a few laps ago, was up front. Same thing that happened to Beers happened to him. He got shuffled back on the outside, said enough of that, and moved to the bottom of the racetrack. Currently, Beers is in 6th, Johnson is in 7th, and Patrick Emmerling is setting at 8th with car number 1.
Emmerling's been pretty quiet so far today. Trevor Catalano able to move up a position to work around the Andrew Spurback machine, who's down on the bottom of the racetrack. He's had a tough go of it so far in his debut here in the NASCAR Wheel Modified Tour. Up front, though, Justin Bonsignore leading the way. You know, you look at the way this season has played out, and typically Justin Bonsignore and Ryan Stone and this entire team put a big premium on dominating the race. They like to be able to go out, control the pace of things, be out in front. You look at his laps led this year. He's only led 167 laps. Now, you go back to a year ago, he had several more laps. You compare that to what Ronnie Silk has in his team. He's near a career high in laps led this year. That team has been pushing, controlling races. And Justin Bonsignore, that 51 team, they know they've got to do that if they want to win races.
You were so right, and being well aware of that, on a track like this and a day like this, a lot of different things can come into play. But right now, Bonsignore is continuing to hold on to the magic. You're looking at the 3 car of Jake Johnson. That car is back in the 5th position. Meanwhile, all of a sudden, Austin Beers trying to work over or follow, whatever the case may be, in Trevor Catalano's number 56 car. That's a battle in the bottom of the top 10, but there's no question about it. Here is that battle we've been talking about, and directly behind Beers is that number 1 car of Patrick Emmerling. Joe, remember at the start of the season, that car was considered to be a house car for the old LFR combination with Robbie Fuller. Things changed. The chemistry was not there. The Grasso brothers are involved with it now, and a lot of good people behind the scenes. That car has been a bridesmaid, but has never been able to marriage so far victory lane. Today could be the day, and this is the track that it all could happen on.
And a lot of it as a caution comes out here, 111 laps to go, the 4th of the evening here. And this time it looks like it's the 32 car in trouble for Tyler Ripkema. And what a heartbreak for that team is they were really looking forward to running this one here. They were strong last year.
They certainly were. You know, they're the guys next door in the Musco Northeast machine. Whenever they show up, they have a good run. If you look very closely, you can see that the left front wheel of the number 32 car, it's either picked up some rubber or something has went awry, because now it's heading down a pit road, and you can see he's trying to make that sharp turn, and the car just doesn't want to do it. I think something has happened with the left front, and yes, obviously it did, as he comes to stop. 2 wheels headed in the wrong direction, not the right direction.
Yeah, so Tyler Ripkema down on this pit lane. Crew will try to repair those tie rods to get that car attached where both wheels pointed in the same direction, but this is going to be hard for this team to be able to recover from as he turns that wheel to the right. You see the teams down on pit road. Now, what'll be interesting here, we talked about that opportunity to come down and get tires a couple of different times. You know, this year, 109 laps for the finish. We've seen a lot of stop and go, short runs here so far. Maybe some of those teams running the bottom half of the top 10, starting to get to that period of time where maybe you come down and make some adjustments and try to gain some of that track position while you've got the opportunity.
You know, I just want to mention that the old saying, they say silent but deadly coming to the front of the field. Well, car number 00 started in the 17th starting position from Tonawanda, New York. It is Andy Jankowiak. Now, the list of accomplishments of Andy Jankowiak on a budget is absolutely amazing. He has worked his way up to the 10th position, and he competes in the ARCA event as well. Joe, we're looking at the field as we're still under caution here.
A lot of those cars in the back half of the field have decided to come down pit road and make those adjustments as we thought might happen. So they've come down the pit lane, see if they get some tires now, see if they get some adjustments, and get those cars improved. And that's something just to pay attention to here. Lap 42 into the race, 108 to go, and among them on pit road, 64 car of Austin Beers.
Yeah, surprisingly enough, that was definitely not a scheduled stop. There is another one of the Catalano cars heading back out in the competition as well.
Let's go down to pit road and Jesse Punch.
Guys, Lancaster Motorplex is paying tribute to one of their own tonight. Tim Mangus, 16-time winner here at Lancaster, is at home recovering from injuries sustained in a fire. So tonight on lap 93, in honor of Tim's car number, fans of the grandstands will hold up these Mangus Strong signs to send their love and support to Tim, who's watching at home, one of the greatest to do it here at Lancaster Motorplex.
50 laps away from everybody holding their signs for Tim Mangus on lap 93.
Away from that tribute, and certainly well wishes to Tim as he recovers from the accident that he had in May.
Sure does, and we wish him the very, very best. And great tribute for a great man. That's what it's all about. So, again, it looks like we're about ready to institute what they call now the lucky dog. It'll drift back to the bottom of the field, and I believe that's going to be Melissa Fifield. Melissa Fifield, well recognized in the Whelen modified unit for her accomplishments as a female driver.
So, lights of the pace car are out, ready to get back under the green flag here. It'll be 105 laps to go when the field gets the green flag. Craig Lutz has been digging, trying to get his way through the field. We'll start up alongside Justin Bonsignor. We saw the second half of the field come down pit road and get tires and adjustments. We'll see how that plays out strategy-wise and speed-wise as the race goes on. Pace car is in. Field rolls off turn number 4 onto the drag strip that is the front straightaway here at Lancaster Motorplex. And the green flag is back out as they dive off into turn 1.
While that is happening, all of a sudden, the car that drifts up the racetrack is Lutz. That gives the opportunity for the number 16 car to quickly move into second. Ronnie Silk. Side-by-side battle again. It appears that if you get to the outside, see how he loosens up just a bit as you're looking at the 22 of Kyle Bonsignor. Meanwhile, Jake Johnson, he's come back to life, Joe. He's up to the top 4, and we've got a new player. It is Jake Lutz with car 14. Lutz has moved into 7.
He's working on the inside lane underneath Patrick Everly. Then look at Kyle Bonsignor, though, slams the door shut on the front straightaway. You've got to get down to the bottom. He wanted that inside lane, and he was going to take it away from Jake Lutz.
Well, it appears that Jake Johnson continues to guard the spot. Meanwhile, behind him, it is still the 22 car of Kyle Bonsignor. Bonsignor loose coming off the turn with that 22 machine every time in turn 4. That is going to work to the advantage of the number 14 car that's setting in the 6th position. Back up front, leader of the pack, Justin Bonsignor, continues to ring up those laps as the leader of the event.
That's a hard part of the racetrack for Kyle Bonsignor. One of the most tricky corners in the entire season is getting off turn 4 here at Lancaster. Because of that transition, it actually runs downhill a little bit as you go back onto the front straightaway, and when it does that, you catch that drag strip, and you can see it here as they come off the corner. Bonsignor just has a hard time keeping his car on the bottom. That allows Jake Lutz to sneak underneath and get the spot.
Well, Jake Lutz has come from the 16th position. That was just 2 rows from the bottom of the field. So he's got that car hooked up and rolled in. That's a very familiar race car. A lot of people have driven it. Bobby Santos sat behind the wheel of it, and several other top drivers in the competition. We've got another spin coming up, and it looks to be the 10 car again, which will be the 5th spin, and caution coming out for car number 10, which is Bob Reese from Elma, New York, the ironlisting.com machine, and he's had a little tough time already, but it's still early in the event in this one. I think one of the key things here we're seeing, Joe, is on these restarts, if you, at the transition point of coming on to the drag strip asphalt, coming on turn number 4, you have got to be able to keep that chrome horn to the back bumper, and you can't let out of it. You've either got to make the transition, guard the inside, or go on the outside. And go on the outside, a lot harder said than done.
Yeah, it's where you get that front end pointed. You generally want to get that car rolling on the bottom lane of the racetrack as you come off the corner. So you're almost, as you look at it on the driver's direction, it's actually the opposite way, the way the drag strip actually runs here at Lancaster. But you want to be in the left-hand lane as you're coming down that front straightaway, almost on the inside, and not swing out wide that you would normally do. It's very, very wide here. Pit road is open. The race leaders are in. It's lap number 98. Craig Lutz, one of the first to hit his pit stall all the way down on the turn 2 end of pit road, though. Justin Bonsu